Back to the channel. Today we're doing a EDH deck tech on Marwyn the Nurturer. Now this is not like the other deck techs on the channel in that this is a more competitive deck. This is a deck that I built and played in a CEDH tournament. Now I will say this is not the best CEDH deck. This is not a top tier CEDH deck, but this is a CEDH deck. So if you play this at a lower power table, you will probably win 80 to 90% of your games. But at a CEDH level, this deck is very potent still, and it can win games. So we're going to talk about Marwyn. So Marwyn the Nurturer is 3 mana for a legendary creature, Elf Druid. Whenever another elf enters, you put a counter on Marwyn. And then you can tap to add an amount of green equal to Marwyn's power. That is a very strong ability, and this deck is full of combos that either go infinite or utilize that ability to make tons of mana to give you advantage or win the game. So first off, you have a combo piece in the command zone. That's always great. When you have a piece of your combo in the command zone, you always have access to it. You find another piece of your combo, you have your other piece in the command zone. It's always great. This also lets you ramp into other combo pieces or other combos, and it synergizes with pump spells and other elves. Some of your weaknesses as a commander is this has 1 toughness, so it dies to gut shot, dies to Orcish Bowmaster pings, dies to almost everything. So you have to pack a lot of protection spells in your deck to protect Marwyn, such as Veil of Summer, or Blossoming Defense, or Vines of Vastwood, or Legolas Quick Reflexes to protect your Marwyn. But if you're able to have Marwyn out and survive a turn, you will usually win the game. If you're able to make it a high enough power creature to be able to get your combos off. So the first combo, Marwyn plus Umbral Mantle. So Umbral Mantle says 3, untap this creature. This creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And you can, of course, tap Marwyn, activate the ability using the mana you got from Marwyn to untap her, and then continually untap and tap her. As long as you have 3+ power on the Marwyn, this will generate infinite mana and create an infinitely large Marwyn. That's pretty sick. 2-card infinite combo. There we go. And you don't even have to have 3 power on the Marwyn initially. You can just attach the Umbral Mantle, activate its ability, and now Marwyn has 3 power to go infinite. So it's actually a 2-card combo. But if Marwyn already has 3 power, then you don't have to really put any more mana into it, and it's just infinite there. So yeah, that's your first combo to make infinite green mana. Number 2 is Marwyn plus your Staff of Domination plus a buff like Scale Up. So one cool thing about Marwyn is that it adds green equal to its power. So if you use a buff spell like Scale Up, you can basically use that like a ritual. So Scale Up says until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a green worm with base power and toughness 6/4. So you scale up your Marwyn, now has power 6. Now it taps for 6 mana, and now you can go infinite with Staff of Domination. So Staff of Domination lets you pay 3 to untap the target creature. So you tap Marwyn for 6. You tap 3, you untap Staff, untap your Marwyn. You have 3 mana, and then you use that 1 mana to untap Staff, generating you infinite green mana. If Marwyn has 5+ power, this goes infinite, and then you can use that infinite mana to draw cards with Staff of Domination to find one of your win con. One cool thing about Marwyn I really like is that you get to play these really otherwise janky buff spells in your deck to actually combo really well. Marwyn's a Scale Up, we already talked about. 1 green mana turns your Marwyn to 6/4. Now your Marwyn taps for 6 mana. Invigorate, you make your opponent gain 3 life, so it's a free ritual that gives you 4 extra mana. That's really sweet. And then Boon of Boseiju gives your guy +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest mana value among permanents you control. This is at least 3, because Marwyn is 3, but it could be up to 6, could be up to 7, depending on what you have on the field. And you get to untap Marwyn. So it gives you a buff. You tap Marwyn for additional mana, and then you can untap her to activate her again. It's a really good card. Yeah, all these buff spells really sweet with Marwyn. And then they allow you to get that power on your Marwyn that's necessary to be able to combo off a Staff of Domination or Umbral Mantle. Combo number 3, Marwyn plus untap plus bouncer. Marwyn, if she if she is has, if she is has, yes, it's a typo. She has 6+ power, will generate infinite mana with the Tower Scout and Sabertooth. With other untappers, you need enough resources to be able to continuously bounce the untapper and its requisites. So, Temur Sabertooth says 2, you may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. So you can return a Tower Scout, play the Tower Scout, untap your Marwyn, return the Tower Scout, play it, untap your Marwyn. It's a lot of mana to continuously untap Marwyn, but if your Marwyn has 6+ power from something like a Scale Up or an Invigorate or a Boon of Boseiju, then you'll generate infinite green mana. These untappers are a little less like 1A+B combo untappers. Wirewood Symbiote, Quirion Ranger. Quirion Ranger, return a forest you control to his owner's hand, untap target creature. So if you just continuously like pick up Quirion Ranger, play Quirion Ranger, pick up Quirion Ranger, play Quirion Ranger, it doesn't go infinite because you need forests to be able to return to your hand. So you have to jump through another hoop to go infinite with Quirion Ranger. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Wirewood Symbiote, return an elf you control to its owner's hand to untap target creature. If you have a Wirewood Symbiote plus another elf, let's say Elvish Visionary, plus Temur Sabertooth plus Marwyn, that's infinite mana, because you can be able to return an elf you control to its owner's hand, return Wirewood Symbiote, generate the mana, play Symbiote, play the elf, bounce the elf, bounce the symbiote, play the elf, and just go infinite like that. It doesn't require as much. It requires as much mana as the symbiote plus the elf plus return twice. So no, return once. So 2, 4, 5 mana. So 6+ power also to generate infinite mana. And then Dionis is really sweet. If you're able to just bounce Dionis, it does cost 1 more than the Tower Scout, but if you're able to bounce Dionis, you also generate infinite mana, and you generate an infinitely large Marwyn because there's an elf that triggers that and also puts a counter on it. So elves you control have whenever this creature comes tapped during your turn, untap it, put a 1/1 counter on it. So it's an untapper, and so what you do is you bounce Dionis, play it again. Now you can untap Marwyn again and put another counter on it. You bounce it again, play it again, untap, put a counter. Really good combo piece in this deck. So we talked about Quirion Ranger. If you can repeatedly bounce Quirion Ranger and Forest, you can combo off. Ashaya lets us do that. So if you can repeatedly bounce a Quirion Ranger and another Forest, and you have Marwyn to keep untapping, you can generate infinite mana and generate infinitely large Marwyn. The way you do that is Ashaya will turn Quirion Ranger into a forest so that it can bounce itself to untap Marwyn. It bounces itself, untap Marwyn, and then you can replay itself to bounce itself, to replay itself, to bounce itself, to replay itself. And every time you're doing this, you're untapping Marwyn. Great combo, infinite combo. Quirion Ranger with a Shy Out can bounce itself to repeatedly untap Marwyn, generate infinite mana with Marwyn to untap each time. Yeah. This is also infinite with Lotus Cobra because you have Lotus Cobra in play. You tap Quirion Ranger, you return it to your hand, play it. Every time you do this, it generates a mana from the Lotus Cobra Infinite ETBs. So yeah, Ashaya plus Quirion Ranger, classic mono green combo. Also goes infinite Marwyn because you're untapping Marwyn. We have multiple ways in our deck to generate infinite mana. How do you win with infinite mana? That's a good question. We can win in combat by pumping our team with a Finale of Devastation, or with Azuri triggers. We play a lot of elves in this deck, so Azuri getting those elves +3/+3 and trample infinite times gets in there. Plus, you can regenerate. So if they like destroy our elf, we can just be like, nah, regenerate it. For Finale of Devastation, also doubles as a tutor. You can tutor Azuri with Finale of Devastation or with many of our other tutors in our deck, and then Walking Ballista is just a one-shot. Pay infinite mana to X and just remove the counters and kill your opponent. There's also Great Oak Guardian that goes infinite if you bounce it, but it's not as good. But I might talk about that after the slideshow. Anyways, I didn't put it in a slideshow, but it's a card that I want to talk about. Great Oak Guardian at some point. So yeah, if you look that up, that also works well in this deck. What if we have infinite mana, but we don't have our infinite mana outlet in our hands? we have ways that we can repeatedly draw cards to find our win con. Like we have Staff of Domination. We also have Beast Whisper. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card, and this also grows our Marwyn. Then we have Regal Force. Enters the battlefield, draw a card for each green creature you control. Awesome card. You can tutor this to find our combo pieces, or bounce it with Regal. We can bounce it with Temur Sabertooth to repeatedly draw cards. Sweet card. I love Regal Force. One of the things that separates like the bracket 5 from the bracket 4 decks is that the bracket 5 decks usually play like a crap ton of tutors, and this deck plays a crap ton of tutors. We have 3 tutors right here that tutor whatever our combo piece is directly into play. So Court of Calling, classic card. Search your library for a creature card of mana value X or less, put in the battlefield and shuffle. Nature's Rhythm lets you do it twice, so you generate lots of mana. You can be like, oh, I'll find my Azuri, and then I'll also find a combo piece with it earlier. Find your combo piece, and then later in the turn, you can be like, oh, now I can find my Azuri. Finale Devastation also is a combo piece, but it searches for a creature as well. Yeah. These are great. Our other three combos, Green Sun's Zenith, cheats something directly into play. Is a little cheaper than the other ones. It has less utility. It doesn't trigger twice like Nature's Rhythm, and it doesn't win the game like Finale Devastation, but it's also 1 green mana less. So it has its utility there. Tooth and Nail gets 2 creatures into your hand, or can get those creatures from your hand directly into play. If you have infinite green mana, this can find you Azuri plus a combo piece. If you have 7 mana, it could find you, 2 really big things like a Regal Force plus a Temur Sabertooth, find you your win cons, can find you your combo pieces and put them directly into play. Great card for this deck. And then a Worldly Tutor, 1 green mana, searches for a creature, reveals it, and put it on top. You do this at the end of your opponent's turn, find a creature, you get to put it in your hand. Great card. Every green deck should be playing it. Let's say our opponent has a Draenei Magistrate or kills our Marwyn a lot. Well, we have other creatures in the deck that work very similarly to Marwyn, and that they can generate infinite mana with the same combos, so they're included as redundancy. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds is just a great card. It adds mana by itself, so you can tap to add X mana in any combination of colors. X is greatest power among creatures you control. So this also works well with your buff spells, and you can also draw cards from this. And it's a 2/3, so it dies to less things. Selvala is also a green commander in CEDH, so that's obviously playing this in this deck. And then Karametra's Acolyte adds green equal to our devotion to green. If we have lots of creatures in play, lots of mana dorks, lots of other elves into play, this can tap for 4 or 5 mana, which will allow us to go infinite with our like Wirewood Symbiotes. Our does not go infinite with Dionis, but goes infinite with like Umbral Mantle and things like that. So these are redundant Marwyns in the deck, just in case there's a Draenei Magistrate, or just in case our Marwyn dies lots of times. And then we can also have just 2 of these in play at the same time to generate lots of mana. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said earlier that one of the weaknesses of our deck is that the creatures of Marwyn is low toughness, and a lot of our creatures die easily. So we have ways to interact to be able to save our creatures. Tyvar stands really sweet, gives our creature hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. If we have infinite mana, we can also just power up our guy to be a one-shot. Vines of Vastwood can be used as a ritual, because we can use it to give our guy +4/+4. We can also use it to save it from a removal spell. And then Legolas's Quick Reflexes doubles as an untapper and as removal. Such a freaking good card. I love this card because it protects our creature, gives it reach, which is useful in some situations, and then lets us remove a creature in play, or also lets us untap it again too. Untap target creature, so it allows us to untap it and kill something by tapping our Marwyn. So great card. Our deck is a combo deck, so we die to control spells. We die to Force of Will and Daze and Swan Song and Fierce Guardianship and a lot of other counter spells. So we need a way to protect our stuff from counter magic. Allosaurus Shepherd, perfect for our deck. It's an elf that grows our Marwyn, but also says this spell can't be countered and gives our green spells uncounterable. It also has an ability late in the game, if we are going to have lots of elves in play, to be able to give each elf base power and toughness 5/5 and become dinosaurs. That's really sweet. And then Destiny Spin, our creatures and enchantment spells can't be countered. Another redundant copy of Allosaurus Shepherd. Adam's Veil and Veil of Summer, these answer both of our weaknesses in our deck. So these answer our weaknesses to counter magic and our weaknesses to control spells, because these give our stuff hexproof, and then also says spells can't be countered. Veil of Summer also draws a card, which is sometimes relevant. We have ways in our deck to interact with artifacts and enchantments. We have Force of Vigor, Nature's Claim, and Reclamation Sage. Force of Vigor, free way to destroy up to 2 artifacts and enchantments. Nature's Claim does it for 1 mana. Then Reclamation Sage is reusable with Temur Sabertooth and comes down and destroys something and grows our Marwyn. That is a just blanket introduction to the deck. My experience of the deck is you present wins early in the game. However, you expect to be heavily interacted with, especially by seasoned players. The deck is very fast and resilient, but can't overcome too much interaction. And it's overall a fun deck with varied lines. So yeah, that's my overall experience with the deck. Great Oak Guardian. Okay, so Great Oak Guardian plus Temur Sabertooth plus Marwyn. If Marwyn's power is initially 6 or greater, you play the Great Oak Guardian, you grow your team, you grow your Marwyn, you pick this up, you play it, you untap Marwyn, continually do this, infinitely grow your team, and swing for an Alpha Strike. Really sweet combo. It is a little bit more expensive than the other ones, but I still just love this card. Archdruid's Charm is a really sweet card. You can use this as a tutor, you can use this as artifact or enchantment removal, or you can use this to destroy like a Drana Magistrate or grow your Marwyn. It's actually a really versatile card. Lastly, I want to talk about Crater of Behemoth, and we're playing an Elf Kindred deck. Well, we're not really playing an Elf Kindred deck, we're playing like a Marwyn combo deck with some Elf Kindred synergies, and so you're thinking, why isn't Crater Hoof Behemoth in this deck? You can tutor it off of Quarter Calling, you tutor off of Nature's Rhythm. And you know what? If you want to play Crater of Behemoth in the deck, it's not bad. I do think the Great Oak Guardian that I showed you is better in this deck because you can just replay it in a turn and it untaps Marwyn. But if you want to play Crater of Behemoth in addition to that card, that's all right. One cool thing about this deck is that you do play Temur Sabertooth, so you can just return the Crater of Behemoth to your hand and then replay it and just continually replay it. That's a really sweet combo. Yeah, I think Crater of Behemoth is fine in this deck. I just don't think it's that good. I mean, I think it's fine, but I don't think it's great. I think Great Oak Guardian is probably better. Now in a format where there's more winning by combat and less winning by just combo, Crater of Behemoth would be great in like a lower power table, but I don't think it's as good in CEDH. Oh, I forgot to talk about one card. Kogla the Titan Ape. Okay, this card is so good. So this is an infinite combo with Hyrax Tower Scout. So the Kogla plus Hyrax Tower Scout plus Marwyn generates infinite mana. This is also very good with Savala in the deck. It enters battlefield, it destroys a creature, and then when it attacks, it destroys artifact enchantment. So that's very good abilities, and also just the Temur Sabertooth ability on it is really sweet. This looks bad at first glance, but playing with it, this card is really good. Anyways, we talked about Marwyn, some of the cards in the deck, a card that we didn't include, and yeah, I hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think about Marwyn. And are you going to play it as your mono green commander? Let me know what you think. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Bye bye. Oh, and you see, there's no lands, there's no Gaia's Cradle because the tournament I was playing in was a no proxy tournament. So it has one card that they play that I'm just like, I can't afford that. So yeah, that's why it's not in there. Anyways, see you next time. Bye bye.